Thank you very much for joining us today. We are unbelievably on our 4th podcast. I'm going to introduce the fantastic Sleep Project people because this one is all about sleep. Sleep is always in the top 3 pain points for every company. It's the most reported issue that we see on our platform. Just February, our sleep KWI was coming in at 42%. March, it was coming in at 56%.
We're probably sleeping 1 to 2 hours less than we were a century ago, which is massive.
Wow.
13 weeks less sleep over a year.
You know, we know that about 30% of people will struggle with insomnia at any given moment.
Came back that 14% of respondents, are sleeping well and waking up energized. 50% of respondents experience poor quality or interrupted sleep.
And it's a fascinating area of science. It really, really is. There is literally no system in your body that is not affected by sleep.
Yeah.
Your respiratory system, your cardiovascular system, your digestive system.
Their cognitive function declines. They're not able to perform at their best. They take more sick days. The truth is that if you neglect your sleep, your overall health and your performance suffers.
Could you kind of elaborate a little bit more about how sleep, should we say, works?
So you have stage 1, which is the transition. Stage 2, which is light sleep.
Yep.
Stage 3, which is deep sleep. And then the 4th is your REM sleep.
You can think of it a bit like a washing machine cycle. It's impossible to say, I got great deep sleep, so that's all I need.
Effectively, light sleep is just as important as deep sleep, as important as REM sleep, and that's why you need to be in bed for those 7 hours.
Quality is really important, but also there's a certain amount of sleep that each person needs. 8 is kind of the average, but there's a variation between probably 7 to 9 in most adults.
What's the physical argument for sleep then, Eidn?
So not getting sufficient sleep will increase your risk of diabetes. It will push your blood pressure up, increases your risk of heart attacks and strokes, increases your risk of Alzheimer's disease and dementia, and you will have a tendency to start gaining weight.
If you're not getting the amount of sleep that you need, then there's always going to be health consequences. You can predict a major episode of depression 2 weeks before by looking at the sleep patterns. And if you get your sleep right, your mental health will improve.
That is just brilliant educative information that everybody should know that. Tracking your sleep with a digital device, what are your thoughts on those?
They're not that accurate at the moment. Some are based on movement, and we all naturally move in our sleep. And if you're someone who's not sleeping well, the thing that you want to avoid more than anything is anxiety about your sleep. Because, as Eidn said, sleep is one thing where the harder you try, the more difficult it is to get to sleep.
It's called orthosomnia. In fact, there's a really interesting study that shows for people with insomnia, trying to stay awake is more effective at getting them to sleep than trying to sleep.
Is it possible to overdo sleep?
In a word, we think no. There are so many benefits that sleep bring, and there isn't really anything that has suggested that sleeping too much is going to have an opposite effect.
If you fall asleep within 15 minutes of your head hitting the pillow, you're almost certainly sleep deprived. There's been some really good data that says the time that you wake up in the morning and its consistency is vitally important for your health.
What would be your top tips for, trying to establish some really good sleeping sort of behaviours?
I think a really good one is bedtime routines are not just for children.
It's a revelation, if I'm being honest.
Go outside and get half an hour of natural light. Natural light in the morning is probably the most important thing for really kind of fixing and entraining your natural circadian rhythm.
I've learned a lot today out of all of the things that you've talked about. Certainly made me think about a lot of things, but sleep really is that important, and that I think is as simple as that. It is the fundamental thing that helps everybody be as good as they can be. So thank you so much again for today. It's been brilliant. Overcoming all the technological problems that we've had, which won't appear in any of the edits, so it doesn't matter.